the slaying of the bull. But before we start, let's have a good, nice Belgian beer.
En Alderweireld! Oh, hij gaat er binnen! Hij gaat er binnen! Het is Alderweireld! Iedereen wordt gek!
Oh la la! Wat een trap! Uitgerekend Toby Alderweireld! Het kan toch niet mooier geschreven worden dan dat het Toby Alderweireld is die bal met een verwoestende kracht in de bovenhoek jaagt! Wat een geweldige apotheose van deze titelstrijd! Wie kan dat nu geloven?
Want Toby Alderweireld maakt Antwerpen kampioen! Dit kun je niet voorstellen! Dit kun je niet voorstellen! Wie heeft dit scenario geschreven? Antwerpen is kampioen! Antwerpen is kampioen! Ja, Mr. Antwerpen himself! Wat een kogel van Toby Alderweireld!
Let me give you a short explanation of what is happening here. At the last day of competition, 3 teams can still be champion. 2 matches are played, Genk against Antwerp and Union against Brugge. So at the start, at minute 0, Antwerp is still champion. So at minute 45, Genk is champion. 46, Union. 89, Genk. At 94, 1 minute before ending, Toby Alderweireld makes this goal. Because the game is played in Genk, the Antwerp supporters are watching the game at home on a big screen. So after victory, the Antwerp players go back home with the bus to the stadium of Antwerp. There the cup is brought to the center. The players arrive at the stadium and there they are put on a podium and are given the cup. Well, nothing special, you might say. I thought so too, until I saw this picture. I nearly fell off my chair. What the hell? So I started to investigate this picture. At first glance I thought it was the outside of the tabernacle. But then I noticed it was actually the inside. Let's start with the Ark of the Covenant. The black box. The Kaaba of Mecca. If you take a look at the Ark of the Covenant, you can even see the little wings on top of the black box. Then you have the altar of incense, table of showbread, golden lampstand, and a laver. Now my question would be, if you create a construction like this, you already know in advance you are going to win the title. How is that possible? I see 3 possibilities. 1, you bribe some players of the other side, but then take a look at this goal. 2, you have a very good fortune teller in your family. But the most probable in my view, you attract it. And when you want something from God, it's always the same. Blood sacrifice. Now would 14 cows, 6 sheep, 2 horses and a parrot be enough to win a football cup in Belgium? Or do you have to cross the line of human sacrifice? Now let's say you want to be the ruler of the planet. What sacrifice would be needed? Would this be enough? Maybe add some 150,000 soldiers and counting? Would that be enough? Or is there a bigger sacrifice needed? Celestial navigation, what is it? You are using the stars to locate your position. But what happens when you do not have all the information? What happens when you do not know that the Earth goes in an analemma? You go from point A to point B. You think you are going in a straight line. But you are making curves. Now you start mapping with this result. What you should be doing is remove the curves from your calculations. But in the second part of the analemma you are going back. So instead of going this way, you should be going this way. And this would give you a completely different map. And instead of the balls of Mercator, you would end up with a circular map. Science thinks that the universe is moving. That is like sitting in a train in the land of the moving poles. Look, there's another one. Now you can call it ignorance. But the moment you send a rocket into space, it becomes a criminal offense. Let's recapitulate. Let's zoom in on our crater. Remember, our system is always doubling. 1 and 1 is 2, 2 and 2 is 4, 4 and 4 is 8, 8 and 8 is 16, which is 7, and so on. This is the cell division, the motor of organic life. I called it the VW system. Now let's zoom in on Saturn, Linné, Atlantis. A crater in a crater in a crater. Two triangles counter-rotating gives you the rings of Atlantis. In the center you get the black cube, the Eye of Ra. You have the 3, 6, 9 and the minus 3, 6, 9. So instead of doubling, we are now dividing. Let's put a mirror in the center. 2 possibilities. But let's take this half and turn it upside down. Now this could be mirrored again. But instead of doing that, let's draw a line. Take the center point. That gives you 2 L's, half pyramids. The red L and the blue L. Well, I already made a few videos about the mirror, how Horus is infiltrating through the mirror. The counter-rotating system is creating 3 rings of water. When you take a look at the Hereford map, you can see evidence that this was happening on the crater map. You can see a ring of water, the ocean. So you are doubling, mirroring and dividing. But wait a minute, isn't the cell looking like Atlantis? What if the counter rotation of the pyramids is creating a mirror? Half of the cell is still in the illusion it is a whole cell. So by the trick of illusion, a cell is divided in two. Reminds me of our crater. The ice wall makes you wonder if there is a counterpart in our crater. Well, you know, I already compared our crater with our brain. Now I start to understand why we have only a right turning brain or a left turning brain. Now in my previous video I showed that everything that is time related moves in an analemma. So how would you perceive a rotation with a perfect functioning brain? You would see both rotations at the same time. What would happen if you would put a mirror in the center of your brain? First of all, your brain would be in the illusion that it is still intact. But you would only perceive one part of the movement. And on the other side, the same story. Let's put in light and darkness. The darkness is the part you are not seeing. What happens when I remove the darkness? You perceive only one direction. So you will perceive this image only right